Hey guys, what's up? This is Bharat, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Honor 6X. So let's get started. Now the Honor 6X has been launched in India for $12,999 for a 3GB RAM variant, and it's being sold in flash sales on Amazon.in. Now, I'm personally not a fan of flash sales, but this phone has gathered a lot of attention. So let's figure out whether or not this is going to be worth your money. Now, the Honor 6X has a 5.5-inch LTPS IPS LCD display, which has a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels, giving it a total of 403 pixels per inch. It runs the Emotion UI 4.1, which is more or less based on Android 6. There is a planned upgrade to Android 7. In fact, the company has officially announced that they're going to be doing it around March. Now, running everything on the Honor 6X is the HiSilicon Kirin 655 octa-core chipset. This is Huawei's own chipset for 2.1 GHz cores and for 1.7 GHz cores. You also get the Mali T830 MP2 GPU, along with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. One of the most interesting aspects of this device is the dual cameras at the back, and it's been highlighted for the cameras a lot, and we're going to get into details of these in just a bit. Now, the battery is a 3340 mAh battery, but it seems to last fairly long, and we'll talk about that in just a bit as well. Let's start off with build quality. The phone is made from a unibody aluminum shell. You do have plastics on the top and the bottom for antennas. The buttons and ports are in the usual places with a standard micro USB port at the bottom. I personally would have preferred a USB Type-C port. It's flanked on either side by two grills. One is a speaker grill and one is a microphone, which mimics the design of the speaker grill. On the right is your power button and volume rockers, and over at the top is a standard 3.5mm headphone jack along with a secondary noise cancellation microphone. Over at the left is the SIM tray, which is a dual tray. So it is a hybrid tray, so you can pop in two SIM cards or one SIM card and one micro SD card. The design in itself is pretty ergonomical. You do have dual cameras sitting at the back, and the solid aluminum shell is soft to touch. In fact, the rounded edges can be slippery for some people, but they sit comfortably in the hand. There seems to be no protection over at the front as far as the glass is concerned. The company does pre-install a screen protector for your convenience, which is great, but if you do drop the phone, you may damage the display, so remember to get a good case for yourself. The Honor 6X is not scoring any special marks for performance. However, multitasking and day-to-day tasks will happen without any issues. You can also do gaming on this device, and the overall output result is pretty good. The gaming experience is fast and responsive, and you'll overall enjoy gaming on this device. It handles high-end graphics without any issues, and the Huawei chipset inside is more or less responsible for handling the graphics in a great way. The speaker on the device is not the brightest, and it is pretty low in terms of volume as well. I would recommend using headphones with the device for a proper gaming experience. Also, the location of the speaker is such that if you're playing games, you might end up muffling the speaker with your finger. Now, the Emotion UI on the Honor 6X is pretty iconic with previous generations of Emotion UI. So if you've used a Huawei phone or an Honor phone, you'll find yourself well versed with the overall user experience. But if you're a stock Android lover, you may not enjoy the experience as much. You can, however, install a stock Android theme or install the Google launcher for those who are used to that sort of user interface. Now, the user interface is laced really well with shortcuts and the ability for one-handed use. You can pull the whole screen towards the left or towards the right and reduce the size. For those who have smaller fingers, this can come in really handy. All you need to do is swipe your finger on the navigation bar at the bottom to reduce the size of the screen in the direction that you want to reduce it in. If you go into the Smart Assistant settings, you can change the way your navigation bar is displayed. You can change the location of the back and the multitasking button. And you can also add a pull down for the notification bar button or a lock screen button, allowing you to lock the screen directly from your navigation bar without the need to press a physical power button. You also get the ability for voice control and motion control, allowing you to flip the phone to mute a ringing phone call. Again, you can customize and enable or disable these features as per your requirements. The fingerprint sensor also has a bunch of abilities. You can take pictures or capture video by tapping on the fingerprint sensor while in the camera user interface. You can also use it to answer calls or stop an alarm. You can also pull down on the fingerprint sensor to pull down the notification panel, and you can also scroll through your images using the fingerprint sensor by simply swiping left or right on the sensor itself. Speaking of the fingerprint sensor, it is quite fast and responsive, and registering your finger is pretty easy. Once you've done that, unlocking is pretty accurate and quick. Since the fingerprint scanner does serve multiple purposes, it's a great way to utilize an otherwise singular function hardware on your smartphone. Now, one of the most talked about features of the Honor 6X is the dual cameras. There is one 12 megapixel sensor paired up with a 2 megapixel depth sensor. This allows the camera to figure out the depth of subjects and give them focus in the way that a DSLR would. You get really high quality depth of field, which looks really good if your subject is in the foreground. But if you use this same feature for a subject that's in the background, the foreground looks digitized and not as great as it does in the standard foreground subject picture. You do also have some effects, and you also do have some post-editing effects. For example, select a singular color from a photograph. If you have a very vibrant color, but you only want to select red from that color to show, and everything else will show in black and white. This is a great way to tweak your pictures, especially if you're posting them on Instagram or Snapchat, and you can simply edit them and then share them on social media networks. Now, video recording is restricted to only 1080p, but in the camera itself, you do get a lot of control over your images as well as video. So you can turn on the Pro Image, the Pro Photo feature and the Pro Video feature to customize and lock in the way you want to click your picture or capture your video. Again, the restriction remains at 1080p. You can also capture slow-mo video, and you also have a bunch of shooting modes that sit on the left of the camera user interface that include beauty mode, panorama, time-lapse, etc. You also have something called watermark that allows you to place some watermarks on your picture or video before you capture it. If you want to tweak the settings of the camera, you can pull from the right side to jump into the settings, where it allows you to customize the size of your image, where it's being stored, and turn on things like a timer or audio control to capture your picture. All in all, mixed with the fantastic display and the overall good camera, this is one of the best camera phones that you can buy in this price bracket. The camera is fast and responsive. You get great colors and contrast, and the fact that you get a lot more control over your aperture settings and you get that DSLR look, the overall camera experience will be good for those looking for a really good camera phone in this price bracket. The Honor 6X will accept 2 SIM cards, both of which can work on 4G networks and will support VoLTE or Voice over LTE for those who need it. Overall network experience is pretty good, but with the 32GB limited storage, I would recommend using the second spot for a micro SD card if that's what you need. Overall networks are strong and robust without any issues in terms of voice quality on the inside as well as the outside. You also get good quality noise cancellation, but it's not the best we've seen, especially in this price bracket, with some good quality noise cancellation from the likes of Moto and even Xiaomi. The battery life on this phone is pretty good. You'll easily get a full day of use with the 3340 mAh battery mixed up with the high silicon Kirin 655 chipset, which manages battery life really well. You can easily go 1 day plus on the Honor 6X without any problem. So overall battery life is pretty good for a phone that only weighs in at 162 grams and is only 8.2 mm thick. For those with heavy usage, they'll find themselves only charging the phone at the end of the day, which means that with a 3340 mAh battery, you can manage to get a full day of use if you're a heavy user. And if you're a light to medium user, you can get 1.5 to 2 days on the Honor 6X, keeping up with what the company claims is the battery life. Now, the Honor 6X is missing NFC, and I would have really liked to see a USB Type-C port on there. Also, I would have really liked to see Android 7 preloaded before the launch of the device. There is also a 4GB plus 64GB variant which may come to India, but right now only the 3GB plus 32GB is on sale. The device does have certain things like FM radio. You also get Wi-Fi Direct. You also get a GPS with GLONASS and BDS, so your navigation is all taken care of. Overall, the Honor 6X is a fast and responsive device with not too much power as far as performance is concerned, but great battery life and fantastic cameras. For a price of $12,999, we would have liked to see a dedicated micro SD card slot and not a hybrid tray, but we are compromising in certain areas, which is fine by us. If you're looking for a phone that has great camera quality and a great build quality with a long battery life, the Honor 6X is pretty much your bet. If you have any questions or queries, drop them in the comment section below. You can also read the full review of the Honor 6X on iGyaan.in. You can also catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Check out iGyaan gear, and we'll leave a link to buy the iGyaan t-shirt in case you guys are interested. This has been Bharat. I'll see you guys in the next one.